ようこそどうぞはじめまして
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GLORIO Chat, the best anime podcast on the internet. Don't laugh. Come on. Really, we are. And actually, you know what? Since we're in the Reiwa era now, and the Heisei era has ended, can we officially declare ourselves the best anime podcast of the Heisei era?
Yeah, sure.
You could do that.
Let's go with that.
You can say whatever you like. I'm not a lawyer.
It's all marketing. It's all marketing. But yes. So anyway, we have an interesting show lined up for this week, particularly because we're bringing in some fresh blood. So regular listeners, you probably recognize the sound of my voice. I'm Jel, and also with me, Iro, as always.
I'm still here.
Still here, and but we're also joined, making their GLORIO Chat debut. We have Chris.
Hey, that's
Hi,
all I've
Chris.
got for you.
I don't know how to say your actual screen name, but I think I'm hopeful the listeners will figure it out.
I would stick with Yuri. Anything longer than that is complicated.
Sure. And we are also joined by Collins.
Hiya. I'm here to talk about Aikatsu.
Great.
I didn't see that in the show notes, but maybe at the end we can we'll get some final thoughts. Is that even still running, or is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Has it ever stopped running
No.
since it started? Okay.
They've rebooted a couple of times, but it has never stopped.
Nonstop. Okay. For the handful of listeners besides myself that actually know what Aikatsu is, there you go.
There's at least one.
Oh, I don't know that they're listening, but go on.
Yes. So yeah, welcome aboard to both of you. We're gonna try our hand at our new format again that we tried last time with some news stories, and then we'll talk about the two shows that we are watching this season with Carole and Tuesday and Sarazanmai, or at least I'm watching. And, before we get into that, though, what's everybody been up to? Anything interesting that we've been watching, playing, whatever? I know.
So
I feel like Chris is probably the most interesting person here in the regard of recent activity.
yeah, I just came back from a trip to Japan, so I am very tired
awesome.
still, but it was a good time.
How many gachapon machines did you turn?
At least 10, probably below 20.
How many times did you turn each of them on average?
Like 3. You got to give it a good crank.
Yeah.
That's life advice there.
Did you get any super
SSR?
Did you get any super rare? Did you get any super rare ones?
No, nothing particularly exciting. I did get a bunch of Kirby's, which I consider Kirby to be super
Very
rare.
good.
But
Oh, are those the ones that like the gacha ball
Yes.
itself is
Yeah.
the figure? And
the ball itself
that's pretty
is
cool.
Kirby, and it just has legs inside it.
I don't
pretty
know,
good.
that's pretty exciting.
That's
So I've
clever.
got a few of those. But yeah,
That's cool.
I'm now very poor, and I'm back at work.
I mean,
So-
yes.
Yeah,
Things are on the down and down.
I know you were mentioning beforehand. You saw the Detective Pikachu movie.
I
How
did.
how did that go? Because I'm very curious. I think there's a lot of mixed opinions out there prior to the. I haven't heard much after it coming out, but
Sure.
what was your thought? What was your take on it?
Better than expected, and I guess hopeful that there will be future Pokemon movies that are better. But that makes it sound like kind of worse than it is. It kind of.
So, are you expecting like other live action ones?
Oh
in the
yeah,
same
sure.
vein?
Like I don't think they'll be called Detective Pikachu, but I can see some future Pokemon movies coming out.
Can you think of like source material that they would be choosing to adapt?
Red and Blue is the one.
Right, I was
rumored.
going to say,
What's the one
Just
that's rumored?
Pokemon
Sorry?
Red and Blue. Just an adaptation of those games.
Imagine a 2-hour Pokemon Red and Blue in that style would be certainly something.
I just want like a really campy Giovanni and Team Rocket.
Oh
Heck
man, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. I have to say, I've probably warmed up to the live action style designs a little bit more after seeing the Sonic the Hedgehog debacle.
Right, that has been a common sentiment. I feel like after Sonic, everyone was like, "Oh, Pikachu
He still
just
looks like
so
Pikachu.
bad."
He's just got his fur, which is a little weird. But
There's like far fewer alarming teeth in that film. So
yes,
I don't know. I saw Apom.
Apom does have a
Yeah, there are some alarming teeth.
but no, it's a good film, and the Pokemon designs as well like feel far less weird when you're actually watching that film. I feel like it's really worse in stills.
right.
Yeah, and also just like in short bursts, like you watch the trailer and it's like, that's weird, but as soon as like they,
Right. Once everybody's got a weird Pokemon on their shoulder, it looks fine. I assume.
Yeah. I mean, like,
is it Ikue Otani in that movie at all?
I mean, her voice is.
Do we get the classic? Yeah, the classic.
Yeah,
Pika Pika.
there's plenty of that, but that's not plenty of that. There is an instance of that.
there's a couple of instances of that.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Okay.
right about that. There's like one like predominant instance right at the beginning, which I think is
Yes, there's one in the trailer if you've seen it.
No idea about that.
Right.
But
Does it actually follow the game at all, or is it?
it is like mostly that game.
Really.
Right. That game came out several years ago. I remember being upset that it was not being localized, and then it was like 2 years after it came out.
That was
When did it come out in Japan?
2016, maybe earlier.
Detective Pikachu game. That's Professor Google. This game came out in 2016 in Japan, 2018 worldwide.
I think we passed that game around in Mull, played through. I think us and Zig played through that game after it came out shortly as we were on holiday.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not worth playing, honestly, but but that story is mostly recycled into that movie.
So was it better as a movie or a game then?
Oh, as a movie, like
Okay.
absolutely. That game is like very boring, honestly. That's coming from someone who like just eats up most Pokemon related like things. So
Right. Yeah.
it was just a bit too simple. Just not very exciting.
Yeah. All right. Well, we may have a little more Pokemon talk to get to later in the news segment.
Hold on, before we move on from Chris's Japan Detective Pikachu experience, Chris, I'm curious, did the cinema give you some trading cards?
Nope.
Aw.
Like when we saw Avengers
Man, what a
out there,
rip-off.
they gave us a pack which contained a little miniature figurine of one of the Avengers in the form of a bean. Don't ask
Excuse
me
me?
why. Yeah, no, really.
I'm gonna need to see pictures of that.
Yeah, I'll try and find
bean?
it, but it's like
Jel, can you put the pictures in the show notes?
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
Excellent.
We have to now. Yeah.
it's just a very strange like small plastic bean that is like weighted on the bottom so it doesn't tip over.
So it's a Weeble.
Yeah, kind of, but I feel like it's part of like a game. I saw like Pokemon ones, for example, just in stores.
I mean, you think they would have given? I mean, I know Disc Wars aired several years ago now, but should have been a disc for Disc
I'd have
Wars.
preferred it. The other item in the bag was a tube of toothpaste.
Wow, harsh.
Which hero? I mean, isn't Matter Eater Man DC? Not
It
Marvel?
was very bizarre. Like I think the cinema itself had an advertising deal with this particular brand of toothpaste, and they were just giving them away.
Oh, I see. So it's not like Captain America wants
Well, I'm sure
to
he
brush your
does,
teeth.
but
It was.
I just don't understand how to
Yes,
justify
but-
that particular type of brand synergy.
Yeah, me neither.
Cinemas and dental health.
I thought I'd offended
Yeah.
someone when you're just looking through this bag of goodies. You see something with Avengers branding on it and a tube of toothpaste.
Well, nobody can get mad about toothpaste, right? And we all have to keep our teeth clean. I'm sure that's maybe that's the message. If you want to be an Avenger, brush your teeth every day.
Does Iron Man's suit brush his teeth for him?
I kind of hope
Maybe
so
we should
and
move
hope
on. But anyway, so yeah, like we've been saying, we're glad to have Chris and Collins on, and I thought before we get into the news, it might be interesting to have a little conversation about how they got into anime, because if anyone remembers, way back when we first tried to reboot the podcast, we did an episode about anime origin stories, and we talked about, Iro and G and Marlon's experience, growing up in America, watching Toonami, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in case the accents haven't given it away, Chris and Collins are from the UK. They are not from America. So I'm kind of curious.
Don't dox me, bro.
I'm kind of curious to see if you guys had any different experience in how you got into anime, or what got you into anime. How I'm sure you guys didn't get Toonami out there. So how did that work out?
Do you want to go, Collins? You go first.
Yeah, sure. I have a kind of interesting framing device here, I guess. My initial anime experience was I was an awful nerd at school, and so I, for the most part, tried to, like, during breaks at school, hide with people that I trust, which was like 3 people.
Understandable.
And we had this little room in the back of the music department building that we would just hang out in, that nobody else really went in particularly often. And in there, I watched Death Note. Was the first show that I watched.
Wow, that's
because a friend brought it in on like a USB stick or whatever, and we just fired it up on some of the machines in there.
that's quite an intro.
Yeah, and so I just watched that at school lunchtimes. And then the next show I watched was Haruhi. I don't remember exactly where. I think I might have just watched that one at home.
You get the full range of the anime experience there.
Yeah, Death Note and the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya,
Yeah.
And then
Tracks.
I don't know that I watched that much until I was at uni, where I started showing up to the same anime trash society as Chris.
Mm-hmm. It was a trash society.
Both of them were.
I remember one more fondly than the other, but yeah.
That's true. Same. Anyway, so yeah, that's my origin story in a nutshell. And there's a nice segue to get to Chris.
Yeah. I feel like mine was more. It was also like chatting with friends at school, like secondary school age. But it was more like at the time, like none of us knew what anime was. That was not a term that came up until college. But I think my earliest show that I watched that wasn't just me watching Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Dragon Ball Z on TV was I think I borrowed Akira off of a friend. And I mean, it was one of those you would hang out with your friends and say, "Hey, look, I've got this really bizarre, gory cartoon. Do you want to watch it?" Absolutely.
Right.
But they also lent me the one of the bad Street Fighter movies as well that was animated. Couldn't tell you. It was a long time ago. I feel like it might have been Alpha. I think there was an Alpha film. Might be wrong, but it was a long time ago.
I only remember the one Street Fighter that was the just original Street Fighter 2.
It could be that. I remember a cage match in there somewhere, but yeah, it's years and years ago.
Yeah, it's not it looks pretty nice, but it's not a very good.
Yeah, I mean, this is
by any
like
means.
long before getting interested in stuff like Street Fighter either, so it's not like I wasn't there yelling how amazing it was to see Ryu fire a Hadouken across the screen or anything like that. So,
Right.
but no, like anime, like understanding what that term meant and actually getting into it was a college thing for me, and it was like a mixture of, I think my my free first anime, and I need to say the third one because it's not something you'd expect, but my first free anime, going off of recommendations of people in my college course, were Naruto,
Oh no.
Bleach,
Mhm.
and Elfen Lied.
Oh,
I feel like that tracks with that era, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, Elfen Lied's one of those ones that, like, if you were watching anime in the early aughts, like, people
And you kept
people would bandy
you
that one
kept
around.
watching. You kept watching anime after that for some reason.
Yeah, it was I guess I'd seen enough Naruto to know it was a bit of an outlier, and I was into Naruto at the time to think that, you know, this is how anime are. You need to have like a big bad, not just some half naked girl crying and whatever.
Right.
And then you
That-
watched Canon.
that came a lot later, but yes.
Okay, and then you watched Canon.
No comment. No, I think like Death Note and Full Metal Alchemist were like the ones that kind of came after that. But there was a time in college that people who were in my college course could tell you that I was very adamant against watching things like Haruhi and Lucky Star because they were a bit too Japan.
They weren't.
They weren't
shonen
dudes
enough.
beating up other dudes. They were far more
quote unquote boring.
Well, I guess it was because like they have a very very particular look. Like at the time, I didn't think I would give a shit about watching a bunch of cartoon schoolgirls at school doing nothing.
Right.
Little did you know.
But little did I know that here I am, 10 years later, and
Yep.
Yes.
but yeah, no, it kind of went from there, and then I, you know, pretty soon after went to uni, went to these bad anime societies and met colons, and yeah, bad times.
The rest is history, right? So did you? So like in the UK, did you ever get like anime on TV outside of, you know,
we
Dragon
did
Ball
have
or whatever,
Toonami,
Okay.
as part of Cartoon Network. But
I didn't, for the record. I was a terrestrial TV person.
yeah, you needed to have a cable subscription for that. But
Is terrestrial TV a term that makes sense to an American audience?
I mean, I can infer what you mean.
Yeah.
But
It's
we do not
TV
use that term,
TV broadcast over the air.
like public access or whatever.
Oh, right. Well, TV that you get right over the air.
I used to other like on public access stuff. We get like Pokemon and stuff on like WB network or Fox Kids. But I think the most interesting thing is because I live in Southern California, you could get Mexican channels.
Tell me you got wrestling.
No, there was uncut Dragon Ball Z in Spanish. And like I'd only seen edited Dragon Ball. And so like occasionally trying to find the hour of the morning on like Saturday when they were playing Dragon Ball Z with blood. Just it was in Spanish.
Yeah. Was that the one with the amazing what is that? Was that one translation where they called like I can't remember it now.
Oh, I couldn't even tell you, man.
Yeah, I remember
You were too interested in the blood.
Yeah. When you're like, 9.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we were pretty lucky with regards to like how much anime was on just your regular old TV, because at the time, like having a cable subscription was like not that common. It was a very kind of rich person thing to have. But you could watch stuff like Pokemon, Digimon, Cardcaptor Sakura were on main TV.
Yeah.
You mean card captors?
Yeah,
Card
sorry,
Captors,
card
A
captors.
Mystic Adventure.
Um,
Did you get all the like after like Pokemon Digimon got big, where they started licensing all the weird shit like fighting Foodons and Ultimate Muscle and all that?
the only one I really remember after that was Monster Rancher. We did get that.
Yeah,
Um,
Monster Rancher.
but yeah, I feel like the weirder stuff was like Toonami when you got like Tenchi Muyo and random like series.
Was it just
Gundam.
called that?
Tenchi Muyo? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I don't think it had a
Ah.
localized name, if that's what you meant.
Yeah, no, that is.
Yeah,
what
I
meant.
think it's always
Yeah.
been. I think
Interesting.
it's always been Tenchi Muyo. Okay. So that's you know, an interesting. I like to hear these stories because I'm an old man and I predate some of this stuff. and you know,
Right, you were still passing around VHS
Yeah.
tapes, right?
well, although I also, one of my first anime experiences was somebody putting on Akira because they're like, hey, you want to watch one of this cool violent cartoon thing, but that was actually in like 1995. So
right, play that one commercial from Sci-Fi Network.
oh
or
yeah,
whatever, right?
because we
And
had
Mondays.
one of the things I saw was we had the Sci-Fi Channel showing they'd show like an OVA or something every Saturday morning, and they had that great promo where they're like, anime is not for kids, and it's like showing all the like, you know, sex and violence they could possibly stuff into like a 30-second trailer, because
That's the best possible ad for kids.
right, yeah. if you want kids to watch your show, this is the type of trailer you make. So yeah, but yeah, no, that's cool. Interesting to hear the different experiences, but
We did have one guy in our college class who was a little bit older than the rest of us, and insisted that whenever anime came up, that the only anime worth watching was Guyver because it was the one he'd watched on a VHS tape. Like
How are you spelling that?
boy.
Guyver,
It's Guyver, right?
I think that's one of the ones they showed on Sci-Fi Channel Anime Saturdays in the 90s.
probably where it was recorded from. Honestly, the one he'd seen.
Yeah,
Bio Booster Armor Guyver. I've never heard of this.
yeah,
It's
that's
kind
that's
of
a
like
classic.
infamous, right? Like,
Yeah.
It has its following. I mean, I have seen it since. But yeah, whatever. You can do better for.
How does it like, just based on the art I'm looking at, I'm thinking like similar era to like Gao Gaiga or something.
Gao Gaigar is late 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is more like early to mid 90s ish, more
late 80s, early 90s.
late 80s, more serious than something like Gal Gaigar, but
That's 86.
yeah. So yeah,
Peak of the OVA era.
Mm.
right. Okay. Well, thank you both for sharing. Well, I'll eventually want to get other members of the GLORIO crew cycled through here eventually and share some more stories, but yeah. All right, so let's move along to some of the topics we were going to talk about today. We were going to cover some news topics, kicking off with some anime news. Not a whole lot of substance wise on the anime news front the past 2 weeks, but I picked a few things that I thought would be interesting.
I strongly disagree. I think that this first story,
first story in particular, is pretty fantastic.
Oh boy!
So been a big 2 weeks for Zombieland Saga, which started off
selling gangbusters.
Started off, the volume 1 sold nearly 20,000 copies, which is
major success.
That's a big success for anime. And later on, somehow ended up appearing in Parliament,
printed off with swear words on it.
Yes, I still not entirely. It's such a bizarre story. I'm not entirely sure the entire path. I think it kicked off with somebody picking a fight with professional fighting game player Sonic Fox,
Mm-hmm.
and then
I did not know that this was part of this story.
Yes.
But
one thing led to another, and before you know it, we're having a hearing in Parliament about supposed alleged Twitter abuse, which probably has a lot to unpack in itself there. But part of it was an MP holding up a picture of Lily Hoshikawa with a gun and a few choice words for TERFs.
It comes at a time when Parliament really doesn't have anything else to do. And,
Yes.
To be fair, Chris, Parliament have been doing one thing and ignoring everything else for most of the last year. So it's about time they got to, bad mouthing anime and defending TERFs.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have any comments you'd like to add as
fuck this country?
Yes.
Does that count?
Also, Sonic Fox is a friend.
Yeah. Well, Sonic Fox is great.
Yes.
But yes, I don't know. I don't know what else if there's anything else we really to say or discuss here other than how does this happen? Is this where we're at in 2019?
Twitter's hecking wild is how this happened.
Twitter has become too powerful. We can sympathize here in the States on Twitter becoming too powerful. But
oh boy.
Yeah. Anyway,
is Land Saga on Crunchyroll or a streaming service of some kind?
It is.
I believe it's on Crunchyroll.
I'd love to know if there was any kind of uptick after this whole thing.
Oh, I so hope there was.
That's a good question. I mean, it seemed to be doing okay beforehand, regardless, as it was selling so well.
It's one of the bigger shows of. Was that this year or was that last year? Gosh.
End of last?
I think it was end of last year.
Let's go with that. I'm sure that's right.
It was less than a year ago. I think it was like the winter or fall. I guess technically that's the fall season.
Yeah,
last
fall 2018.
And I mean that show's fine.
Yeah, sure.
It's fine. I am surprised it's that popular though, to be honest.
I feel like that tracks. It was
you think so?
It was a very well produced idol show, and it had its other gimmick of zombies that probably made the idol fans go like, "Ooh, this is new and interesting."
This is actually different when really it isn't. They're just zombies. But yeah,
and then various other good points. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, it was fine. Like if you're into the idol shows, it's
right.
Boy, am I.
Well, there you go. Did you actually watch it? Or
absolutely not.
Okay.
Honestly, the most I heard about it was when the character in the picture that was shown in Parliament showed up. I feel like that's when I kind of really heard about that show in any kind of context. But that's about it.
It was representation that a lot of people were very thirsty for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
should we provide some important context for this picture? The character in question is canonically trans.
Yes.
I feel like that's maybe important context.
Yeah. We did. Yeah. So we should bring that up again. We talked about it when the show was airing too. But there is a character that is revealed to be a trans girl, one of the members of the group, and she's the one that appears on the image that was being held up in Parliament.
I'm looking at the story here, and there's a fun misquote here. Apparently, Joanna Cherry, who is the person who held up the image, misquoted it and replaced the word turf with the C word.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did read that.
How did you misquote it when I think it was only like 2 words? Wasn't it?
It was literally holding the image in her hand.
Yeah, it says "shut the fuck up, turf," and she said something worse.
Did she think that turf is a worse word? Was that the point of the? I don't know. Because that was the point of the hearing, right? They were trying to say like turf is a slur or something like that.
There are certainly people who argue that, yeah,
which is ridiculous, but yeah. So, just
what a world we live in.
Yeah, just what a time to be alive, I suppose. Well, I guess we're not. I don't think we're done with the bad politics here. So let's move along to our next story. Yoshitaka Amano, famed artist, most famous for his work doing concept art for Final Fantasy, and probably Vampire Hunter D would be the other big thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He recently popped up in the news making a portrait of Shinzou Abe as a cool samurai dude. And I guess part of the commemorating the change into the Reiwa era or something like that. And, you know, I've been a big fan of Amano's work for a long time. And I was kind of curious to see why in the world he would have painted a cool picture of Shinzou Abe, who, look, I'm not an expert on Japanese politics, but, you know, I wouldn't want to, if somebody's going to be painting a cool picture of Shinzou Abe, I'm going to be giving them some side eye. Let's put it that way. But he said
what are you
something
talking about? 4chan loves him.
Well, there you go. That alone should be reason enough for the side eye. But he explained, he did an interview on it and gave some fairly neutral sounding answers. But he was saying how it was like, oh, I wanted it to be like, you know, like a painter in the Renaissance times painting a, you know, historical figure or something. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. Like, I feel like painting somebody as a cool samurai is kind of giving like tacit approval.
It is. I feel like it's worth pointing out that the poster, even though it focuses on Abe, it's very much a promo for his political party. And I personally saw that poster in Shibuya while I was there on a gigantic billboard.
Right. It's
and I mean, this is amongst the other adverts. My brother, who had no idea what the poster was, I pointed it out to him and said, like, what do you think that's a poster for? And he just said, you know, is it just another mobile game? Because most of the posters over there are for mobile games.
It does kind of look like one, or it could be, because it's not just Abe. There's a bunch of guys there.
Yeah, it's a very like samurai-esque. Other than Abe is very definitely a samurai, but everyone else is very similar looking, and it's one of those things that when you've got a gigantic advert for the Japanese Lib Dems, it's with this cool art, and it is cool art. Like, don't get me wrong, it is cool art.
Yeah, it is a cool picture.
It's very worrying that there's going to be a lot of people that will look at that cool art and say, "Fuck yeah, it's the fucking Final Fantasy guy." Let's, you know, I guess that means Shinzou Abe is a cool dude too. Like, it's a bit.
But the choice of the samurai thing is just like, there are so many other things you could draw them as.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you chose to draw them as like such an explicitly military thing, which feels
right, a traditional and military. Yeah, it's like right up there. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be out on Amano, but man, that makes me. Like I said, there's definitely some side eye there. I mean.
It feels less like a political comment from him and more like he made it sound at the very least that he was pretty ignorant of politics in general.
Right.
Yes.
Which, fine, I guess, but maybe.
I mean, that wasn't a statement like, "Oh, they're the government. I like the things that government as an institution brings us, like roads." It's like, oh, okay, Amano.
Samurai, famous for
I'm gonna
building
fit
roads.
in.
I think like fire engines came up in the conversation, so
I'm gonna paraphrase G, who isn't on today, and when he said, you know, thank you for bringing up that Amano is basically a cop now. So I really loved his Final Fantasy stuff, though. It was some of my favorite. Like, I have like art books and stuff from all that. I just Although has he been
It's all good, real good art.
Who'd have thought that people involved in the production of Japanese video games could be weirdly problematic?
Yeah, go figure, right? Has he even done Final Fantasy?
They always bring him in for like the logos,
right? But he hasn't done any real work on it since like 7 or whatever. I think that's all
7.
I mean, prior to 7.
I mean, he's got the good gigs nowadays. He's literally just designed a Magic the Gathering card, so
that's right. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like
There's a
like,
couple
new
of
Magic
them,
the
right?
Gathering, like the new Magic the Gathering set or something, has a whole bunch of alternate art for Japan involving all sorts of artists.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. There we go. We can end on a more positive note. There was a couple of different artists involved in that as well. That was kind of a neat neat thing. All right, let's move on to something more fun, which I'm actually not sure how fun this is going to be because I don't know how much everybody else is into Macross.
I'm very much into Frontier.
Okay, well, you're going to be happy about this one then. There was a Ultimate Macross Poll recently. I think it was conducted by NHK. Where it had over 20,000 votes. I found actually an extremely detailed breakdown of this on another website that I'll have to dig up later. But they basically had fans voting on, you know, what was the best stuff in the series or franchise or whatever you want to call it. And Macross Frontier won the vote as the best Macross series, and Sheryl Nome won as the best Macross character.
G asked me to say that the best mecha was voted as the YF-19 from Macross Plus. I don't know. I have not seen Macross Plus, but
that's probably a good choice, actually.
Is that the Vocaloid one?
Yes, I get Plus and 2 mixed up a lot.
I mean, isn't 2 not part of the meta series at this point?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I don't know.
I haven't seen those in like 20 years
that, so.
at this point.
Right.
But yes, so that actually was probably a good choice for that. As for the other choices,
you sound very confident about how good they are.
I mean, as a person who's only seen Delta and Do You Remember Love, the only Delta song being on the most popular is like one of the worst Delta songs,
and also being above Diamond Crevasse. Fair enough.
I don't know that
better.
One.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, and like the more I thought about it, I realized I don't think Macross has a very deep bench.
No,
there's Frontier and like Do You Remember Love and like the original series, which is, you know, tied to Do You Remember Love. I also thought it was weird. They I always hate comparing TV series to movies because they included they just put them all in the same pool,
right? So
like if you look at the list a lot, and I think it was to pad out the list because there's really not that many Macrosses, but if you look at the list, it's like
I see how Macross Plus and Macross Plus the movie are both on here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so like
bear in mind as well that
was
Sheryl is number 1 and number 4.
Excuse me?
You should see the Gundam poll where Char Aznavour was on that list 3 or 4 times.
Oh, I want to see you got me thinking about like polls that people can enter names for, and I really want to see the raw data for the Smash character poll.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Goku would just be the biggest write-in, right? On that.
I expect so.
I mean, which Goku?
Anyway,
I mean, it doesn't matter.
We're talking about Kid Goku, we're talking about regular Goku.
You can put all of them in a game. There's proof of this.
Talking about like King Kai Goku, talking about like Super Saiyan 1 Goku, Super Saiyan 2 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku.
God. Someone's an encyclopedia.
I don't think Goku never goes Super Saiyan 2, right?
Yes, he does.
But he doesn't make a big thing of it.
I thought he just...
He does in the Majin Buu saga to fight Vegeta.
Okay.
To fight Majin Vegeta.
I'm going to have to cut off the Dragon Ball tangent.
Yeah, no, I derailed this. Sorry, that's on me.
Before we start talking about power levels here. No, Macross Frontier is a good choice. My personal favorite, I like the original SDF series, but I think as an all-round pick, Frontier is good, and I do like Sheryl.
I had a phone named after Sheryl for actually until like a week and a half ago.
I was like hearing people's stories of when they get a new computer or phone, and it's like enter a name for your thing, like the weird stuff people always put.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pink iPhone SE named Sheryl for about 2.5 years, but it recently got replaced, and so I named the new one Yuzuka.
Okay.
After the oh heck, what's the show called? The Yushiki character.
Okay. I've not seen
I have, and I
Yoshiki.
don't remember who it is.
Spoilers, it's a pink iPhone
Oh,
SE. So
sure.
it's
The one
the
that yells a
pink hair.
lot.
Okay.
Yes, the one that yells months sometimes.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Now it's coming back to me. It took a minute for my old brain to process that. But yes, I know who you're talking about now. Okay.
Good.
But did your Sheryl phone have a appropriate ringtone? That's the question.
My phone's always on silent.
Wow, harsh ban.
Yes.
But my ringtone has always been, for the last 2 years, the Ocarina of Time Forest Temple music.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
See, I also keep my phone on silent most of the time, but for years I had Ninjin Loves You Yeah as the opening the opening of that, the do 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 part from Across Frontier. But
That's nice.
You guys are Sheryl fans, so
For the record, my ringtone is Final Fusion from Gao Gai Gar.
Hot callback.
Actually, I don't have. Maybe I should find another anime ringtone again. I don't have anything on my current phone, so
I
Chris.
used to have the Angel Beats music as an alarm to wake up to, and I
As in,
don't know.
yeah.
You
But
what?
then,
No, that's not Angel. Oh,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I'm thinking of Chubbits.
Very
Which is
similar
definitely
shows.
related to Angel Beats.
thing is, the problem is if you set something as your alarm,
It ruins you.
your body starts associating that music with but wait,
We can't stand to hear that song anymore, so
exactly.
never again.
yeah.
Even ringtone kind of does that, but yeah, no, alarm clock
Yeah.
is perfect way to ruin a piece of music for yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry, this got a bit off track. What's next?
No, that is what we do here at the GLORIO chat. We go off on tangents about weird tangents about how anime has permeated our lives. But anyway, let's move along to one more anime story here. Yoshiyuki Tomino,
Yeah, sure. Okay.
legendary creator of Mobile Suit Gundam, was giving a lecture last week and had some comments about Into the Spiderverse, which I thought were entertaining.
Sure.
That film is very, very, very good.
Yes.
He called it a really weird anime, but
Tomino.
he mostly had he mostly had complimentary things to say. I think he mentioned this is what we in anime should be basically striving to outdo. We want to try and surpass this kind of creativity and everything, which I thought was pretty cool. I have still not seen the movie. Have you all? You've all seen it?
It's very good.
I feel like for Iro to give a completely unqualified, it's very good. It must be fantastic. So I just haven't had a chance to see it. I was gonna see it with my niece and nephew, and the plans fell through. We just never got back around to it. But once it gets out or whatever, we'll probably rent it or whatever people.
It is out on Disney.
Whatever people do to watch movies these days. So people don't rent movies anymore, right? So
you can rent movies.
You can rent
digitally.
streams, right? Yeah.
Right. So
Guess you're just patiently waiting for that Disney streaming service.
Oh boy.
Ooh. Yeah, watch all your Marvel movies on Netflix while you can, folks.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool that he kind of gave that a shout out, and just interesting to see. Like I said, I haven't seen that movie, but it just doesn't look like anything else.
Yeah,
and just like that level of creativity, I'd love to see more of.
There was another news story a few days ago about that was interviewing the handful of Japanese animators who worked on that film, and their thoughts about its production, and how it was similar to and different from working on, domestic anime. That was kind of interesting.
Okay.
And like from where I'm at, like the thing I love about animation is that you can do stuff in it that just isn't possible in traditional film, like live action film media.
Yeah.
It's why I loved names of things. What's the film with the penguins? The film with the
Happy
penguins.
Feet?
No, the
Penguin
anime
Highway.
film with the penguins.
Oh.
Yes, Penguin Highway. Penguin Highway did stuff that would not have been possible if it wasn't animated. And Into the Spiderverse does stuff that I've wanted computer animation to do for years because
Yes.
it's
Right, it's finally taking
it
advantage
explores that space and does
Right.
stuff that wouldn't be possible. Like it makes such a good use of the medium is the thing.
Also, just a
Right.
genuinely good film.
Yeah, also that. Also, yeah, no, it's got compelling characters and story, which helps.
Yeah. Yeah, I always, one of my things I always say is I think the best anime is the kind of anime that can only exist as anime. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
and otherwise, what are you using the medium for? So like, that's and I would love to see, particularly with like, we've had this conversation before too. Like, I feel like computer graphics and computer generated art feels like it has stagnated a lot to me, and just seeing more creative ways to use it than just trying to make something as realistic as possible is that's very exciting to me. Like, that feels like the next big step in
Absolutely
in where animation needs to go, because you can do things like you're saying that you could, and not even just live action, but now even compared to traditional animation, things that you're not able to do previously. And I feel like with computer art up to now, a lot of it has been, well, yes, you're doing things you can't do with traditional animation, but also doesn't look as good. Like, whereas, Into the Spider-Verse seems to be finding ways to use that in ways that actually makes it look, if you want to say better, or at the very least different, unique, and very good.
There's also the if your goal is make something that looks photorealistic, A, why not just film people?
Right.
2, which is the number after A.
Yes, I was about to say.
Two, there's the Uncanny Valley problem.
Right.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. That's like, okay, I forgot the name of the show already. What was the airplane show you guys were watching last season, Iro?
The Magnificent Kotobuki?
Where like half the show was like the hand-drawn girls, and then once they got in the planes, everyone was CG, and it was just like...
Yeah, it was real weird. The planes were great. I don't know why half the time they were CG and half the time they were not CG.
Right.
But
yeah, that's like the problem I feel like there's been with, computer graphics since,
Right, or like it instantly clashes from shot to shot.
Yeah. So definitely cool to see, and hopefully that can spill over into our animes as well, in finding better, more creative ways of using CG. But yeah, and
I still feel like there are good examples of that in anime. Like now, there's just not very many of them.
Yeah, no, there certainly are, but it's still like,
shout out to Babuki Baranki.
it still feels like the exception to the rule, right? Like it's So.
There are still gifs of Berserk floating around. We are past it yet.
Oh man,
can I drop a really like backhanded shout out to Etotama?
Sure. I did not see that.
Etotama was a garbage show that was clearly pandering to pedophiles. However, the CG sections of it were really hecking good.
Was that one of the terrible shows we made you watch for?
Yes.
Okay, I'm starting to remember. I think.
I'll drop a link to my write up for it.
2015.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I joined
a million years ago.
I think I actually watched that one for some
The
reason.
the CG fight sequence was actually super cool.
Yeah,
and made good use of CG and wasn't gross in any way.
just the rest
It's
of the
just
show.
that the rest of the show
hot garbage. Yes. All right.
Yeah, no, you added to this write up.
Okay. Yeah, I did. I think I vaguely remember. Yeah, that being pedophile bait. Otherwise, but hey, the CG was good.
It was.
Oh boy.
That's my point. Like, you can do cool stuff in animation with CG.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Let's move along and talk. Let's talk some games news. We had a surprise announcement about the Kickstarter hell, current Kickstarter hell resident Bloodstained.
Right.
Which if anybody forgot, that is the not Castlevania game made by the original creator of Castlevania.
Well,
I was talking to Chris earlier, and I genuinely thought that this was already out.
No,
It's not.
Also, that is not the creator of Castlevania.
Or it's
He is the guy who basically moved Castlevania from traditional like platform stage based to closer to the Metroid style.
okay. Yes, so not the original creator of Castlevania, but he's responsible for like the Symphony of Night style, right? Like
Yeah.
the Metroid with vampires style.
Uh-huh.
Which is exactly what Bloodstained looks like. I mean, it looks
There's an elephant in this room, and it's a word that nobody is saying.
what's that?
Metroidvania.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank you.
So
I expect Bloodstained to be a totally adequate Metroidvania.
yes.
Yes.
As a backer of that game, it doesn't look
Ooh.
as though it has any of the spirit that I actually liked about Symphony of the Night. So
Well, it's funny we were just talking about Uncanny Valley CG graphics. I feel like the CG is not helping this game
no,
at all. Because
But hey, at least it doesn't look like poop anymore.
it looks okay.
it looks
Yeah, no,
perfectly
it-
adequate.
Yeah.
It does look adequate now. It is an
Right.
improvement, but yeah, I remember seeing that mock-up that was part of the campaign, and I feel like a lot of people keep longingly looking at that and going, just sighing to themselves.
Right.
But I was kind of immediately out of this campaign, backing this campaign from the get-go, because I backed Mighty Number 9 and never again.
Oofa,
Yeah,
doofa.
understandable.
That's the
understandable.
other elephant in the room.
The more interesting thing, like they made that spin-off game of Bloodstained that was like a beautiful, like 5-stage 8-bit style
Yes.
platformer.
So that's for the record the one I was thinking of. The reason I thought it was out.
Okay, yeah, and that's like actually quite well regarded by just about everybody who's played it. Which makes
Quite frankly, I think it
what
looks
real-
better, but
right, which makes what real Bloodstained look like kind of like, oh, what happened?
yeah. I guess the game came up because they put out a trailer. And they even got a shout out in a Nintendo Direct, claiming that the game will be out this summer. And
Sure.
I hate to break it to everybody, but this summer is next month, so I'm
No.
not gonna hold my breath. We'll see if it actually
The
happens.
summer starts next month.
Yes. So there's a wide window.
I mean, they gave a specific date, didn't they?
I didn't
Yeah.
see one, but did they?
Bloodstained release
I want to say it's
date,
mid-June somewhere.
June 18th.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yes, that's actually So that actually is next month.
Yep.
So I'll believe it when I see it, but I guess if you're feeling confident enough to give an exact date that close, then maybe it is actually going to happen. But
Right.
Games never get delayed. I don't know why you're even expressing a
yeah,
lack of confidence here.
what is the over under on this being better or worse than the Mighty Number 9 debacle? Like, you can't get worse than Mighty Number 9, right? Like, it's got to be.
That's the thing. That's the lowest possible bar you could
Right.
set.
Having played I played the backer demo or whatever, and it seems perfectly adequate, if not particularly good. But it's not terrible. It's just kind of there.
I feel like this is going to be a bit of a ukulele situation, honestly. I feel like there'll be plenty of people that will be into it, and most people will just not want to play it, and they'll just play the original anyway. Or Symphony of the Night.
I mean, like, right. And, like, if you want to channel the spirit of Symphony of the Night, like, the things that make Symphony of the Night good and memorable are all of the weird little one-off things in that game that do not actually contribute to like the main
Give it its weird
path.
weird personality
Right, like,
to it.
Like looking through the telescope at the moat, or going into the confessional room and sitting down on either side, or if you sit down in a chair, the fact that you can sit down in a chair and have Alucard fall asleep, like all those weird shit that they just threw in because we have a CD now.
We can fill all the
Right.
I like the GBA and the DS games. Were pretty.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the the three best Metroidvania Castlevania games are Symphony of the Night, Art of Sorrow, and Order of Ecclesia,
Right.
And the rest are all kind of lame.
Still mad I couldn't finish Order of Ecclesia because my DS broke. But someday, if they re-release that somewhere, put it on Switch, you cowards.
Hey, I've got like 3 DSs, and I think they all work. I could send you one if you want.
I have a feeling in 2019 it would probably cost more for you to ship me one than for me to find one over here. But
I'm sure of it. But also, you want to play this game, and so I want to give you a motive to do it.
I do appreciate the offer.
I think I have 5 devices that play DS games in this room.
How many of them are legal devices?
Oh, they're all legal. They just still got stupid anime characters on the front of them.
Oh, well.
Like, hey. Pikachu is not a stupid anime.
No, I was referring to Jibanyan, but yeah.
Throw shade at Yokai Watch.
Yeah. All right. So,
well, speaking of dumb anime characters,
let's get into the good stuff here. My gacha games. They have finally announced that Yoko Taro's long-awaited follow-up to to Nier. I can't even say it with a straight face. So, if anybody's not aware, I'm not going to say he, but he was involved in creating a gacha game called SINoALICE, which has been out in Japan for nearly 2 years now, I think. And it has finally been announced for the West. Pre-registration is out, and I think they said it's coming out next month or something.
Hooray! It's like fairy tale themed, I believe.
Is it also in the Drakengard universe? That's my big question.
So my understand. So a lot of the early concepts for the first Nier game involved fairy tale characters, and I think this is kind of their excuse to reuse some of that stuff that was scrapped before. So I think it's tangentially related to the Nier universe.
I mean, like Nier is tangentially related to the Drakengard universe. So
that is correct.
I looked at the Wikipedia article for this game, and it has Cinderella's name next to the word depravity. So I'm going to say, yeah, they're probably the same.
Oh no!
Yes. So if you want, like,
bless you, Yoko Taro.
It definitely has like the creepy fairy tale horror vibe thing, and I'm sure if you like made up one of those like conspiracy theory like pinboard things, you can map it out to all his other games as
Sure. I just remember the series of articles pre-release that were like character spotlight, including comments from the like designer and comments from the writer, and every single week Yoko Taro's comment was the same about like I wasn't involved in this. I hope she does well so we get paid.
He has been very open about this being a cash grab.
Right. I feel like
a weird look.
Yoko Taro is a weird look.
Yes.
I feel like I don't have any confirmation on what I'm about to say, but like I feel like this was the thing that Square Enix was like, we can make a new Nier, but you have to help us make a mobile game that will make us a lot of money. And then Nier Automata became a huge success. So
well, this was after. Did they actually?
They were like concurrent.
Was it that concurrent? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I could see that because they basically had to hold Dragon Quest hostage to make Nier, right?
That's right. Yosuke
That's the
Saito
legend.
threatened to quit
Yes,
if he did not get to work with Yoko Taro.
as the legend goes. So maybe that was part of the hostage situation. He had to make a mobile game along with it.
Who
But
knows?
So what is the current status of SINoALICE?
It's they're taking like early registration signups for the West.
So it's been out for a while in Japan, and they're just now announcing it for international release. So,
though my understanding is the mobile game enthusiasts are not happy because the company bringing it over is Nexon, who apparently is very like, if it does not meet their projections, they will shut it down fast. Is my understanding, based on like how they've treated other things they brought over.
That's always the number one concern with
some like Korean conglomerate.
It looks really boring anyway. I don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yes, and if multitude interviews are to go by, even if I play SINoALICE, it's not like it's going to get Yoko Taro paid anymore.
Right.
So,
all right. Well, there's one thing I'm not afraid to admit this anymore. I try all the gacha games. So
how dare you?
I even tried. I even tried Review Starlight when that came out a week or two ago. And
what about the Magnificent Kotobuki gacha game?
Well, if that comes out if that comes out in the US, I will definitely give that a shot. But I also end up dropping them pretty quickly. But
what about, have you dropped Granblue Fantasy?
There you go, Iro. Yes.
Okay, good.
I put that down and you picked it up. The game I'm still playing is Granblue Fantasy, and I think even people who are not interested in Granblue Fantasy are interested in Granblue Fantasy Versus, which is the fighting game being developed by Arc System Works.
What platforms is it?
PS4.
Okay.
It's gonna be PS4. It's pretty much using the
like Dragon Ball Fighters engine, basically, or the Guilty
Gear,
Gear,
the Guilty Gear Dragon Ball Fighters engine, where it's 3D anime. It looks gorgeous.
All right, the like Arc System Works sorcery that they divined to make 2D fighting games out of 3D.
Yeah, whatever black magic they use to make 3D anime, they've used it on this. It looks fantastic.
Other than all of the characters being blue and gold. Yes,
they did make some interesting initial roster where all the characters have like the same color palette. But and I'm a bit skeptical on how good of a fighting game it's going to be, because a lot of the characters are just, I have a sword.
I have 2 swords.
And I shoot magic. Or I have 2 swords, and they're kind of, I don't know how they're going to work out the variety so much on that, but well, they did announce a couple different types of characters, the last 2, but it basically this came up because they announced a beta for the game, which is going to be coming up I think later this month.
Do you have to pre-order to get it, or
they said to register? There's a register page, which I haven't done yet, but I need to get on that. And I was actually surprised because I was ready to, because I have a Japanese PSN account. I was going to sign up with that, and then they announced like hours later, and here's the international sign up. So they're actually planning on releasing this simultaneously worldwide, I think, is the plan now. So go ahead and sign up for the beta. I hope it goes better than the Dragon Ball one. I don't know if anybody, I don't know if anybody of you participated in that.
It's just like too many people signed up and everything crashed.
Oh
yeah, I got into like 2 matches or something and all that. They're also doing the weird thing with the Granblue one. They're doing the weird thing where they only have the beta available for like a couple hours at a time.
Right.
Which, like Nintendo does that.
I think that's
it makes sense if you're wanting to like load test the servers and then respond to
like if you know
how it performs.
If you know that they're only going to play from this hour to this hour rather than over the whole weekend or whatever, then that's like, that's gonna be maximum server load or whatever,
Right, you get as many people playing as possible at a time.
And you
Yeah, it
get time
does.
to fix stuff while nobody is playing.
Right.
As someone who maintains like web services used by millions of people, I can completely understand why that would be a thing that they would do.
Yes. Yes, definitely. So that's pretty cool that they're I thought it was cool they're doing it international. So if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. I'll definitely be checking that out. And then they also announced a new character, who is not a blue character. It's actually a red character.
Not a gold one.
So blue or gold, right? It's actually so they announced Ladiva, who is they needed a grappler, so they brought in a wrestler,
Right.
And interesting choice because she's also a trans woman.
Cool.
I'm only putting a question mark on that because the game itself does not make that entirely explicit.
Does the show make it explicit?
I don't know if she appears in the. I haven't watched the anime. Chris, did you watch the entire anime? I know you watched some of it.
I dropped it after 2 episodes.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, the anime is not terribly exciting. The plot is actually
sold like 60,000 copies or something absurd.
Yes,
it was fine
hit.
For what it was. It's just
It was
I ain't got time
it was
for
at
that.
least self-aware, which
Yeah.
With this particular character, they try to take, I think, the least controversial approach possible, but she does use female pronouns, and in all the marketing and everything, they've been using female pronouns. And interesting, in the game mechanics, certain mechanics are affected by gender, and with her, the mechanics do not apply as either gender, which I thought was interesting.
So where does this question mark come from? What?
I guess because they don't really.
The wiki said that like they just never use gendered pronouns, right, or something.
Is this like a Oblivion 1000-Year Door situation where some localizations do it differently, or?
Yeah, well, I think there's only the one. I mean, there's only the one English localization, obviously.
Okay.
But so maybe there shouldn't be a question mark, and I'm wrong on that. But I guess in the actual, like, because I play through her story part and everything, they kind of don't really talk about it other than that's, and I'm a little wary because I feel like they kind of play it into some possible stereotypes, because
right, like when I saw this saw this trailer without any other context, I asked you like, oh, is this the gay stereotype, like burly man character?
Right, that's what it comes off without any other context, based on how anime usually works. But I think it's and I'm not a good person to make this judgment call, but I think it's a safe. They try to play it safe with it, and I think it's probably fine. But yeah, interesting choice for the roster. I think I was more surprised that they picked an SR character and not an SSR character. Because this particular character does not have a super rare version. I figured they would pick all SSRs for the because there's literally hundreds of characters in Granblue. I assumed if they're only going to put 12 in the game or something,
I have to assume that when Versus launches, there's going to be an event in the gacha game that promotes the characters that are on the roster.
That's true. Yeah,
all new.
Good point.
Get all new versions. Put me to work.
I mean, heck, there's a bunch of Detective Pikachu stuff going on in Pogo right now. So
yeah, definitely makes sense. Yeah, because we're gonna have Versus, and then they have the other game, the action game.
Wait, really? There's more than one of these.
Yeah, there's what I think it's called Relink, and it's an action game that was originally being developed by Platinum.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That also looks fantastic. Platinum has they did have the weird split.
They're no longer working on that game now. It's all side games.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. I think like a month or two ago. It was pretty recently Platinum was like, we have finished our work on this game. We're handing off to Side Games. We now have nothing to do with this game. We just want to make that clear. That's how it came off to me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Like I understand, like, you know, that probably happens a lot where, you know, game companies finish their part and, you know, don't do any and hand it off or whatever to Side Games. But I can't remember any other circumstance where they made a point of like making an announcement of it. Like,
hey, there's going to be stuff in this game that we're not happy with. Is what that sounds like.
Yeah, it makes me suspicious. But I mean, just based on what I've seen of it, it looks great. Like it's like the art direction and everything on it looks fantastic. They did a very nice job of like translating the Granblue art style, which I really like, to kind of 3D, like a 3D action game type of thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at some screenshots. It does look good.
Yeah, but
do either of these games have Gachapin in them? Because I want to fight as that thing.
Probably not. But
Boo.
we'll see. All right. So let's move along to one last
gotcha.
We've looped it back around. We've looped it back around to Pokemon again. DeNA, I think that's how you're supposed to say it, right? DeNA,
Yeah.
which is the mobile game company that has collaborated with Nintendo on all of their mobile games. So, you know,
they were involved in Animal Crossing and the
Super Mario Run.
I don't think they were involved in Mario Run. I thought they were involved in Animal Crossing and the other gacha game they put out.
the Fire Emblem.
Yes.
Fire Emblem Heroes?
I think when I looked it up, I thought they mentioned that they were Mario Run.
Maybe, certainly, Nintendo have been working with them, and they're probably still working with them for the Mario Kart one. Mario Kart World, I think, is the one.
I think they're definitely working on with that.
Yeah.
They were involved
But,
with Super Mario Run, Miitomo, Fire Emblem Heroes, and Animal
Oh,
Crossing.
I miss Miitomo so much.
Right, and
rest in
they are
peace,
making
dude.
Mario Kart Tour.
Yep. Tour. Okay, not World. Gotcha.
Rest in peace, Miitomo. That was a lot of fun for the 2 weeks everybody was playing it.
Anyway, they're talking about a Pokemon game, apparently.
Yeah, so they have announced that they're working on a Pokemon game, which there have been quite a few mobile Pokemon games. Most
Shuffle
notably, of course, Go, but
was
even beyond that.
what? There's the one that has figures in it,
Like
Chris.
Island or something?
Duel.
Oh.
Pokemon Duel.
Jewel, yeah, Jewel, and then there was the one where everybody's a cube,
Right. That's
Which
what I
is
was thinking of. Quest. That's right.
and then there's Go, and then there's Shuffle, and those I think are all of the and Magikarp Jump.
Oh god,
I
yeah.
love
the
Magikarp Jump.
one. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Forgot about that.
So there's been quite a few, but this has me wondering if we're going to get the legit, real gotcha game roll for your 5-star Pikachu.
I find that concept repulsive.
Same.
Well, I find it very interesting because if you go back to really every gotcha game rips off Pokemon in some capacity, like with the elemental weaknesses and stuff like that. Going back to Puzzles and Dragons,
Right.
for example.
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I think it makes perfect sense, but also...
Oh yeah, it does.
It's like
it's bringing it full circle almost.
in many ways, Pogo is already a gacha game.
Yeah, I'm just...
Right.
I don't...
Except-
the idea of pulling the slot machine to get your SSR surfing Pikachu...
So what have they said about it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Pretty much
other than
nothing.
they're making a Pokemon game, so this is pure speculation.
Okay.
But based on their current track record, is it going to be more like a Fire Emblem thing where they're going the traditional gotcha game route, or are they going to? And I feel like we've done enough weird spin-offs of Pokemon that seems like the logical choice. But I don't know. It's pure speculation at this point.
Yeah.
I will roll for 5-star surfing Pikachu though.
Same.
Don't do this.
I'll do it.
I am fully prepared to go bankrupt.
With my gotcha luck, it shouldn't take.
Motherfucker.
I have to bring that up as much as possible. So, all All right, so I think that concludes our news segment.
We took most of the podcast.
Says you don't know how long we're going to go for.
Yeah. Well, we've only got the 2 shows to talk
that's
about,
fair,
so
that's fair.
I think we'll be only slightly over time
as
here.
we transition from Pokemon to currently airing shows, shout out to Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's still going, still good. It's kind of wrapping up.
Yeah, isn't it gonna be time to change over to
like once Sword and Shield come out, like the anime usually changes within like a couple weeks of the game.
God, I'm looking forward to anime Japanese Britain.
Yes,
I just really liked the change in pace for Alola, and I'm going to be sad to go back to something more traditional.
You don't know that that's what they're going to do. Maybe they'll stick with it. It worked.
Right? Maybe, but
I mean, you say it worked well. It kind of didn't.
In what way?
It's not very popular in Japan.
Oh, really?
I thought the ratings were like quite good for a while.
I hope so.
Like I feel like I heard that it really dipped, but maybe I'm wrong.
Are they just not good by Pokemon standards, but otherwise good?
Is this another situation like with Lupat where changing up the formula has me going, oh, this is cool and new and interesting. I like it. Whereas, like, domestically, everyone's like, why'd you change the formula? It sucks. Well, I don't know.
You're just a kid show hipster.
I like the cast, okay?
I mean, at the end of the day, they're never going to cancel it, so there's nothing really to worry about.
Pokemon is probably even more untouchable than Super Sentai.
Right. Well, they're not going to cancel it, but are they going to change it in some way because however they think is going to get the ratings up or whatever?
What if the next Super Sentai is the next Pokemon game film anime?
The crossover everybody's been waiting for.
All right.
Can't wait.
Yeah, sure. Sign me up.
That'll sell some toys for sure.
I'll buy them.
Yeah, give me a Pokemon transforming belt thing.
Hey, you've been to one first, Chris. I'm sure that there are crossover toys that you could buy.
I was not looking at Pikachus. I was looking at bad Godzilla figures.
Touche.
I didn't include it, but I did see something about a Godzilla gacha game coming out.
Oh, sure. Good.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I didn't put that on the story, the news stories here, but that's also a thing.
Gacha game.
Chris, I feel so sorry for your wallet.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll look into that one. But anyway,
to mobile from Nexon. Great.
Yes.
Well, I get a good year out of it then.
Yes. Yeah, because and I don't know how long that's going to last. But anyway, let's talk about some anime while we still have time here. So let's talk about Carole and Tuesday, which is the show we're all still watching. Since last time we talked about, we had episode 4 and 5, which I did not update in the notes, but it was 5, not 3. Episode 4 was the music video episode, which
what a great episode.
It was fun. I felt like this was like the most self-indulgent. Like, if I keep harping on Shinichiro Watanabe being like this cranky old man and kind of indulging his old man music tastes here, particularly with some of the references and like the like painfully on the nose episode choice for or choice for episode title, which was the video killed the radio star by the Buggles, which it's like, oh, I guess it's gonna be the music video, let's name it after that. But they did have some fun references, a lot of Thriller, and what is still the greatest music video of all time, which is Take On Me by Aha.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. No, stop. Because the thing about that video is that it is like rotoscoped animation crossed with some live action stuff. How do you do that in an animation show?
You should watch this anime.
Okay.
I think so. The references they make to it, they are mostly just talking about it. They mention they say a few things that say, oh, I know what they're talking about, that video. And there's like one still shot of like the girls looking into a mirror with like different art in the mirror style, but it's like I think it was a still shot. I don't even think it was like animated or anything.
It was a very short moving shot.
Or very short. Like they didn't do the full.
And it's the like animated versions of them looking at them from the window in the Take On Me looking style.
Gotcha.
Right. So they didn't do like the full on experience, but
also the drawings in the mirror were just done by a child.
Oh,
yes.
that's good.
Yeah, because
So the plot is they want to make a music video and to go viral on the YouTube. And so they buy that on like Amazon. They see this director robot with its AI. It will, do everything, do all the work for you. And so
it's only like $20 or something.
It's like 20 wulong. And so they buy this robot and go through the steps to make a music video, but it's actually a scam, and it makes the shittiest music video in the world.
It just lays about drinking beer.
Yes.
Wait, the robot?
Yes.
Yes, apparently it runs on beer.
I need to watch this
Oh,
show.
this episode was so good.
What I've
It's a
seen of
scam
this
that
show
they
looks
put
so good.
together. Yeah. That's the scam they've put together is to get beer, is pretend to claim to be good at making music videos, and then the results are terrible. It's pretty funny.
The robot also voiced by Satake Yuki, same voice actor as QT from Space Dandy. If you couldn't tell by the very exact same voice that they was using.
I mostly watch Space in English, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah. The writer for this episode did a lot of the best Space Dandy episodes, in my opinion, including the zombie episode and the race episode and the multiple universe episode.
Right. So yeah, that was fun, and then we had this week's episode, which I think was a little more plot heavy, I guess.
Right.
Which was I did like, we've had our sequence of like terribly failed ventures to make the girls famous, and now they're like extremely wary of anything that the manager guy and the what's his name, Roddy, come up with at this point, because they're still trying to like hit the big home run here. And but in this case, they arrange a small club show for their first gig, and we have a little bit more on the whole B plot with Angela and her Vocaloid producer guy, which I don't know where that's going. I
a rival or something.
Yeah,
I guess.
I thought it was interesting. They had like we keep talking about how like the music is not necessarily blowing us away in this show.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't tell, because there's a part where Angela, who's supposedly getting like this like synthetic music from this guy or whatever. I don't know what exactly they're doing, but he makes a song for her, and she sings it to this guy he's trying to get as an investor. And I was like, so is this supposed to be amazing? Is this supposed to be good, or is this supposed to be not good? Or like I couldn't tell like what they were going for at this point, because it sounded like
it sounded fine, I guess.
Fine pop music, I guess.
Kind of
so like
the problem with the show for me is I can't tell when the music's supposed to be good and when it's not supposed to be good. And like,
I mean, because it's always like good, like it's fine, right? But like I can't tell like. And that's the challenge we've talked about before with like throwing superlatives around when you say.
Also, if it's like, if you understand the narrative purpose it's supposed to be serving within the anime as a whole, rather than just as the music by itself, like, isn't it fine? I guess. Yeah,
it is, but like in the example I was giving, like I couldn't tell what the narrative purpose was there. Was she supposed to be singing an amazing song? Which I guess it turned out she was, which raises other questions.
They got the investing, so
yeah. Well, which raises other questions is like, okay, well, if this guy can spit out synthetic music that's still amazing, then like, what are we, I don't know, what is the message we're going for here? I don't know. But
like 20 episodes, so
yes. So, but yeah, I mean, it's still enjoyable. It's fine. I'm still not personally like head over heels for it, but I am enjoying it.
It is well produced.
I don't know.
I am enjoying watching it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I'm kind of glad that we're getting back onto plot, because it feels like the last 3-ish episodes were very much they felt a lot like Space Dandy, and more like more than it normally does, in that it was very what's our plan to get famous this episode? What are we going to do to piss off Ertegun, because he's the comic relief character now? And then how does the plan backfire? And that's fine. They weren't bad episodes. It's just, it kind of feels a bit like a different show at that point, because when plot starts happening in episode 5 and we even get a bit of resolution, well, not resolution, but a continuation of Tuesday's brother and what he's meant to be doing.
Yeah.
It just seems very strange when we've come from the alcoholic robot episode. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because this show is trying to do something, like it's still trying to do something somewhat serious, like with a message, right? Like, so having too many beer drinking robot episodes does kind of pull you off track. I think,
I suppose the other thing as well is that music video episode also, even though it was like mostly a kind of goofy episode and it didn't have a lot of ramifications for the plot in general, it did also include the Gus's ex-wife and her new partner plot, which is like it's one of those things where like it's obviously not going to be very important for the plot in general, but it's one of those like way more serious things than you'd expect from an episode that was doing all this other crazy weird shit. So
yes,
I just guess I got a bit of whiplash from the tone in that episode a little bit.
Yeah, because they bring in his ex-wife, who is tells him that she's or is she married already, or getting married to her new partner or something? And I
think she's getting married.
Yeah. And I liked like when she's talking to the girls, she's like, "So, do either of you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend?" Like, she made sure to cover all the bases. But that was.
I
mean, Carole and Tuesday's first experience of meeting her was her kissing her partner, which was, the show didn't make any real fuss over either, which is good.
Yeah, I thought that was cool that they worked that in a very seamless, natural way, which is great.
Yeah,
but yes, there are like important, serious things going on, and there is a bit of whiplash there. I would agree, but I think I feel like maybe they're going to settle in now because, or at least more that they've kind of established, okay, this manager guy doesn't really quite know what he's doing, or he's overestimating his reach in the industry in the present day. Let's put it that way.
I could go back to like Watanabe as an old man note. It seems very to line up with that. It seems very him to have the idea of let's go viral with a music video, to fail miserably, but let's start with a small gig at a club. It's apparently going great.
Yes, and the kind of like the older lady who's the club owners. Like when Roddy shows her the phone, he's like, she's like, I can't get anything from watching that. You're gonna have to bring them here or whatever. I definitely heard some cranky old man voice in
right
in there, but yes, that's kind of where we leave off, where the girls, rather than getting through their get famous or going through some crazy get famous quick scheme, they're going to start from the bottom, doing one song at a tiny little club in front of 10 people, and work their way up. That's what they're going for. So yeah, it's still a fun show. I'm enjoying it, and hopefully they'll kind of balance things out a bit better over the course of the next 20 whatever episodes we still have to go.
Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, even with these kind of weird tone issues, it's still like I guess I came off of episode 5 thinking more that I cared about. I feel like I'm invested in the world and not with the characters really. Not that I it's one of those things where you kind of watch it and feel like you are on Carole and Tuesday's side. You want to see them succeed, but as characters, they are pretty. There's not much to them. They're I feel like they put more of their time into showing you how weird Mars is and all the weird tech involved in living in Mars, that I feel like I'm way more interested. Like, I feel like I was more emotionally invested in Tuesday's suitcase coming home than
Or
anything else.
when the owl is sad when they're talking about taking the AIs out for a walk.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, so it's weird things like that, but like it is still a fun show, and I feel like even like I feel like the plot could be pretty whatever, and there's still interesting shit happening in the background that it's still going to keep me entertained. But
right.
yeah,
That's why
I have some reservations with it.
why they put the show on Mars and not just in 2050 New York, right? Like,
Yeah,
So yeah. It just it feels like it should have more meat on its bones than it actually has.
Mhm.
I guess that's the thing that's kind of bugging me a little bit, but that's not.
But hey, it has Instagram.
Yes,
Right.
Instagram has survived intact and completely unchanged. Way far into the future on Mars.
Mm.
I wonder how much they paid for that sponsorship.
And this isn't even the first time they've done it. Like, there was the Instagram episode of Agretsuko as well.
Oh right, there was. I'd forgotten all about that.
Agretsuko was supposed to be
really
like
curious
present
to know,
day, though,
like-
right? Like,
yeah, well, didn't Place for the Universe have a ton of Instagram stuff too?
Probably.
for which, yeah, I don't know, but maybe Instagram is the new Pizza Hut, then the friend to all anime.
No boy.
Granted, like Instagram in Carole and Tuesday is also like a major part in what enabled Gus to stalk Carole and Tuesday. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what like positive
Facebook
message
sign
that's
off on that
sending.
is.
Yeah.
Don't tag your location at home, friends. But yes. All right. So let's move on to our last topic. This will be interesting because I think I'm the only one currently watching Sarazanmai. With Chris and Collins, where do you guys stand on Ikuhara?
Penguin Drum was fine, and it also kind of sold me on not really chasing up the rest of it. I saw like an episode of Yurikuma and was like, whatever.
Okay.
My position is I try to separate the art from the artist.
That's a very diplomatic position.
I understand that there are some really questionable motives behind, like, the way he treats women, for example. But I still think that, like, I don't know, Madoka's a good show,
It's not Ikuhara.
isn't it?
Are you thinking of Urobuchi?
I am thinking of Urobuchi.
Yes.
Ikuhara.
I'm
is
good.
one-
I'm good with names. No, Penguin Drum and Yurikuma
Utena
Arashi.
and Yurikuma and
Review Starlight.
Review Starlight was made by
it was one of his proteges that worked on that.
Ikuhara.
Oh, okay, and also Kamen Rider Game.
that is Urobuchi and not Ikuhara. Yeah.
How are we getting Ikuhara and like? I feel like those are like the two like farthest possible. I don't know.
I,
but,
I love Penguin Drum and I love Thunderbot Fantasy.
Oh, God damn it.
has anybody ever
Taylor
seen?
Psychopaths crossover.
Has anybody ever seen Ikuhara and Urobuchi in the same place at the same time?
Real talk.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw that question out there. Anyway,
I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed for all of this. I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. That would require us having real listeners, but so
Uh-huh.
so Sarazanmai, but my consistent through line on this has been this is actually the most straightforward story that Ikuhara has ever presented, and that continues to be the case as we like. There's weird stuff happening, which isn't even really that weird if you take into context that it's based on like the Kappa myth and on how they on what they do.
About your butt.
Which Yes, they pull your soul out of your butt or whatever. But
God, I didn't know that.
yes, that's how the Kappa legends go, and that's what they basically apply in Fantastical.
Suddenly, Arakawa Under the Bridge gets really weird.
Swim in the river because you won't drown, but Kappa will yank stuff out of your butt.
Yes, well, you will drown while he's doing that. But
is this like a metaphor for Lyme disease? Is that where this came from?
I don't know. Who knows?
I think they just didn't want kids to go out in the river alone and drown. But anyway, so this show I feel like has been very straightforward up to now. We've had the three main characters, had their secrets revealed, which that's kind of the whole hook. Is when they do this whole Sarazanmai thing. They have to the other boys see their deepest, darkest secrets. So
I love Persona.
Yes, it's actually somewhat similar to that.
Every time you found your persona, everybody saw your deepest, darkest secrets. Is basically the hook,
right? Like you literally see the flashback of stuff happening, but I guess it's a similar concept of everybody kind of seeing the real you or whatever. So episode 4 focused on we were due to focus on the delinquent kid. So there's 3 boys. We've already kind of done an episode with the first 2, and this is the third kid who and I don't know if you're going to plan on watching it, maybe I'll back off on the spoilers a little bit. I don't know, but
do you recommend watching it?
If you liked any previous Ikuhara anime in any capacity, then yes, I would recommend watching it. And I think this, like I said, this kind of cuts away a lot of the, I guess, abstract stuff, and it's a lot more of a straightforward story. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. And I guess even if you weren't crazy about his other stuff, you might like this a bit more just because it is a bit more straightforward. And that said, if to try to talk about it without spoilers is a bit tough, but because they basically constantly drop plot bombs all throughout the episode or every episode.
I'm into shows that move.
Yes. Because you have your main characters that look like they're one way, and then you get the kind of their dark secrets. So this one kid, he's what we have seen him so far. Like when we first meet him, he's stealing a car. We've seen him dealing drugs.
Right, straight up weed.
At one point, he was waterboarding somebody.
Whoa!
Right.
He's been doing some bad stuff. And this episode kind of reveals a bit why. We get a little bit of his family history. And it actually makes him a pretty sympathetic character, which is interesting compared to the kid who's the quote-unquote main kid who, you think he's just trying to, connect with his, little brother who's handicapped. And he turns out to be kind of a sociopath.
Stealing cats and stuff, right?
Yeah, amongst other things, which kind of comes up more in episode 5.
I am a couple episodes behind.
Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting contrast where the main kid you think that's the good guy is actually kind of crazy, and the ostensibly bad kid is actually a pretty decent person. And that's kind of what we get in episode 4. And then 5 comes back around to the main kid who has this. I'll say this much. So we're talking about him being kind of sociopathic here. He has this ongoing thing where he's trying to convince his younger brother that he's been texting as his favorite idol girl, and he finds out that the this is a little spoilerish, but I'll try to keep it. I kind of have to bring it up to talk about it. So his brother's yeah, I'm going to this meet and greet to meet the girl, and I'm going to give her this secret phrase and everything.
Oh, no.
And so to cover it without hesitation, he goes to the delinquent kid, no hesitation or remorse or anything. He's I'm going to have you kidnap the idol girl. and that's like the plot of episode 5. And
Wacky hijinks.
yeah, so fun wacky hijinks. Well, as is often the case with Ikuhara, you do actually get some weird, funny stuff mixed in with some like pretty disturbing things if you actually think about what they're doing. So that ends up being the plot of episode 5, and all kinds of stuff goes down in there. But yeah, I really like that. Well, I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword where I do like the more straightforward storytelling, and that the plot's moving really fast, and they're dropping plot twists.
And when half of each episode is stock footage, you have to fit the plot into the remaining 12 minutes.
Yes, they do recycle not one but two like dance song transformation sequence things, which takes up at least 5 minutes of every episode.
I love Aikatsu.
Yeah. Yes. Which is, I suppose, nothing new for anime with that have transformations or whatever, but yeah. But this has 2, which is unusual. But
or for that matter, tokusatsu shows.
Yeah, mech shows.
Yes. Anything with a lengthy transformation. But yeah, so I'm enjoying the more straightforward plot, but also kind of miss like one of the things I love with like Penguin Drum and other Ikuhara stuff is like the more I liked the abstract, like kind of making your brain process the types of moods and feelings without directly telling you what's happening. And I feel like there's not really a ton of that here. Like all the fantasy stuff is just tied around like the Kappa stuff, which is not really like it's not really like a mystery or anything. It's just mostly just a crazy visual element, I guess, to make things interesting. But I don't feel like it's adding to the story other than being kind of a plot device to force the boys to see each other's secrets, that kind of thing. Whereas I feel like in previous Ikuhara stuff, he's using the weird stuff to like create a mood and like make you feel certain things. And here they're just showing you the plot. So I don't know if it's going to be better or worse moving forward for the rest of the show, but that's kind of my feelings on it at the moment. But either way, I think it's great. I'm enjoying it a lot, and it'll probably be for me an anime of the year contender once all is said and done. So go check that out, everybody.
Noted.
Okay.
Because it's interesting because as a person who did not really enjoy what I saw of Penguin Drum or Rikuma, like it being more straightforward makes it more appealing to me.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's necessarily better or worse. I think it may just come down to what is, what's your personal preference. But yeah, it is a little bit different than his previous stuff. So, like I said, if you've had any, like even a little bit of interest in his previous work, I think it's worth checking out.
Okay, fair enough. At the end of the day, though, I'm already watching the anime of the year, Pokemon Sun and Moon. So,
hell yeah, Lana Kroger. It was cool.
How did we? Because that actually made our list one year, didn't it?
I kind of strong-armed it onto the list. It's true.
Nice, well done.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, we somehow managed to,
because it was good,
work that in there. But
I think, God, that show's been going for like 120 episodes.
Yeah, long time. All right, so I think that's gonna do it then.
We don't get to talk about Kaiketsu Zubat.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Kaiketsu Zubat.
All right, we'll that's where we'll wrap up. Go. I'll turn the show. I'll turn the show over to you. Go ahead.
I've only got this thing, but the clips I've seen
there's not really that much to say about it. Zubat is the best at everything. All of the enemies are the second best at everything.
Kaiketsu Zubat,
and that show is a GIF factory.
Kaiketsu Zubat is a toku show from the like late 70s of the same like sort of lineage. I think it's the same writer even of like the original Kamen Rider and Super Sentai about a detective. Is he a detective?
He's
in Hayakawa.
Detective is not.
He's more like a cowboy.
I mean, maybe entitled
magic guitar.
the hero has, wears his cowboy outfit, has a guitar. He's like looking for whoever killed his buddy, and
So-
every episode, meets
They
the
flash back to that death.
How did we get to talking about this on May 12th, 2019? If it was,
Well, Jel.
I think this is Chris's fault.
But there was a very good Toku GIF Twitter account that was tweeting out GIFs of this show, and
And today we got to the episode
Yes,
that made
we
us
did.
watch this show.
was it
it
billiards?
was the
or
Billiards
what was it?
episode.
Yes, it was. So our hero, there's a fun competition where they put two like empty beer bottles on a pool table with two balls on top of it, and I guess the goal is to like knock the balls off of the bottles.
I think I've seen
And
this.
so the enemy, the bad character, knocks it round the table, and we see some close-ups, and then the ball like lifts itself off of the table, definitely hanging from a string, and knocks the two balls off the beer bottles rather.
Greatest
And
billiards
then
player.
our hero does the same thing, except instead of just knocking them off of the bottles, they are knock out the two like henchmen behind him, and then float unevenly back to land on top of the
Like,
bottle.
clearly on a string, right? Like,
Yeah,
Yep.
very clearly.
I've seen
Like they
that.
even drop low enough to the ground and then raise up again above the beer bottles to land on them. It is terrific.
Yeah,
It's
I've
truly
seen that.
astonishing.
Very-
Also in this
very
episode,
fan.
also in this episode, there was definitely a child dangling from a crane in real life.
Yeah, there was definitely no green screen there.
70s Toku is a treasure. Like,
We'll have to revive the Kung Fu movie podcast and do Super Inframan.
I think my favorite running gag about the show is that midway through every fight, in order to do his transformation, rather than do the transformation then and there, he just disappears and then is like immediately in his fun car driving very quickly, but from very far away from where the fight was happening until then. So I think he can teleport.
Understandable.
Yes, understandable. Yeah, yeah. I've seen that clip with the billiards. Now that you guys mentioned it,
Yeah.
so that's pretty good. That was very good. Maybe we
Chris,
can,
do you have any fun observations to share about Kaiketsu Zubat?
32 episodes to go.
Oh boy.
all right.
Well, I'm enjoying it more than the last Turkish show we watched.
God.
I believe Zubat.
Let's not talk about Ultraman RB because it's bad.
I believe Zubat shows up in one of the more recent Kamen Rider crossover films.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like some villain like almost escapes, but he's stopped by Zubat and Inazuman and Kikaider or something, like all the like side ones, and they pull him up. Something along those lines. Yeah. Time to watch
All right.
old Toku because current Toku is bad.
Oh.
Confirmed.
I mean, if you want to like watch original Gridman, I'd be up for that.
Well, if old Toku is bad, or new Toku is bad, and new anime is bad, are we just all watching old stuff now at this point? Is that where we're?
Yes, I mean, when
We're
does
also
that?
watching DeNA Coil if you want to talk about that.
I'm legit watching Ashton Ojo right now, so yes.
I mean, well, you can't talk because we're watching Ava. So
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm saying that's what's happening right now. We're watching Evangelion and we're watching Evangelion and Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and I'm watching two new shows, but I'm watching 6 episodes a week of the other ones. All right, let's wrap this up. We've gone on long enough.
Yeah.
Thank you both again for being on. Do you have anything you want to plug before we
Have you heard of this website, thegLorioblog.com?
Yes, we'll get to that one, but I don't know if you have anything else you want to shout out at this point. But
Just do that radio station thing.
Yeah, Colons, you can shout out that radio show that you're.
Hey, if you like Aikatsu and want to hear Aikatsu music once a week,
Or if you dislike Aikatsu and you want more votes on other songs so that Aikatsu doesn't get played,
you can listen to and I'm plugging it despite the fact that it's not my show, but because I mentioned Aikatsu earlier, you can listen to Nakades, which is a anime music radio show on FM. If you're in the Crewe and Cheshire area, you can tune in to.
It's incredibly narrow.
What are you laughing about?
It's incredible, like, considering our listener base, how narrow of an audience that must be.
You can listen online though, right?
So yeah, I mean, no, but we'll get to that.
Okay, yes.
You can tune in on 107.9 FM at 9 p.m. UK time, whatever that is. Or you can go to thisisthecat.com and tune in there. If you want to like request tracks or whatever, you can visit a website, nkd.su, and request the music there.
there is like a
I think
surprisingly big foreign listener base on that show.
Yeah, no, there are very. The reason I always lead with FM is because I know that very few people listen to it on FM, and it's funny.
Okay.
I feel like there is a level of legitimacy though that is added by being broadcast
absolutely.
on the actual radio. So that's good marketing.
It means there's actual consequences when Colon swears.
Incredibly.
So I'm on that show like on average about once a month. I think the next one I'm going to be on is actually Chris. You'll be on it too, right? Because we're going to be.
Oh, is this a Wales thing?
Yeah, so in like 2 or 3 weeks, I can't remember exactly what the date is. There'll be an episode with me and Chris on.
It's incredibly tangential,
but it's usually hosted by one Peter Shillite.
We promise to play some good music and probably Aikatsu.
This is an incredibly tangential story I have related to radio. When I was a child, I was at my friend's place, and his older brother, who was a shady type.
Hang on. What does that mean?
I think he might be a criminal, but
okay.
He helped us play the Digimon soundtrack over pirate radio.
Oh, heck yeah.
In the late
Did you have any listeners?
You're a real rebel.
I don't know. This was a long time ago. Anyway, that's my story.
Arrested for Digimon crimes.
Rest away. Rest them for Digimon to try. No, that's Digimon.
All right. Now I'm really cutting it off before we get into Digimon.
Zig's not here. You don't need to worry about it.
I don't know. Iro might be our biggest.
We didn't correct him into Digimon.
Yes.
Okay.
So, as for our regular housekeeping, you can read all of our content at theglorioblog.com, including me writing about Sarazanmai. So if you want the full spoiler version, go check that out. You can follow us on
speaking of theglorioblog.com, there's a post that Chris has been correctly pestering me because I'm like 3 weeks late now. I'm going to be writing about Aikatsu on theglorioblog.com in the near future.
Okay.
We'll finally finish the first looks at this current airing anime season.
Yep.
Okay. Well, now that it's been committed to
audio,
I was gonna say audio, then it's gonna have to happen for sure now. So we'll
can't promise when, but it will.
Yeah. Yep. So read us at theglorioblog.com. You can follow us on Twitter at theglorioblog. You can like, comment, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes.
We go on YouTube.
On iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, and also on YouTube.
Oh,
yes, we do put the podcast on YouTube.
Neat.
And I think that's it.
Hi YouTube.
We still
hi YouTube. Also, thanks for letting me be the Dan Reichert of this podcast.
You know too much to be Dan Reichert.
Clearly, I know who Urabochi is.
I mean, you at least picked another Japanese dude.
And at least I know what pirates are.
Well, I hope someone else. I hope someone out there actually gets those references. But that's gonna do it, folks. So thank you all once again for being on, and we'll catch everybody next time.
ちに来る